Hi, it's Michelle here at Rim on the Edge, and I'm so lucky today because I'm here with Brian Johnson, Chief Philosopher of the fabulous Philosophers Notes. Brian has done many things along the way on his hero's journey. In his own words, he was a 24-year-old law school dropout turned founder CEO. The companies he founded include eTeams, the world's largest amateur sports site, Thinkereat, is that the way you pronounce it?
It's a tough one, Arete.
Arete, okay.
Yeah.
A site where he began distilling the universal truths of optimal living, and Zads, the social networking site now known as the Gaia community, which boasts more than 250,000 members. Already a top graduate of UCLA, where he studied psychology and business, in 2007, Brian decided, in his own words, to give myself a PhD in how to live, or optimal living with a specialization in greatness, bliss, and enthusiasm. I love that. It's great. And Kyle Wildner of The Wild Divine says, the result, Philosopher's Notes, is an awe-inspiring collection of 6-page PDFs, 20-minute MP3s, with the big ideas of 100 great books, and more coming, distilled for immediate consumption and application in your own life. Also on the site, Brian shares 822 big ideas, 3,366 quotes, and 29 videos. And another quote from the site, it's all about the big ideas we can apply now. Get your wisdom on. Brian, welcome.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction.
Well, you deserve it. It's fantastic. I'm a big fan. So can you describe your work and how you help people move forward in their lives?
Yeah, well, the basic idea, as you said, I got to a point a couple of years ago where I was running a business and just wasn't quite my fullest purpose and dharma, and decided to give myself a PhD in how to live, in optimal living. And I couldn't find a program that really integrated all the things I wanted to study, from positive psychology and mysticism and philosophy and creativity and exercise science and physiology and all these things that I think are part of living an optimal life. So I decided to give myself my own PhD, and I would get a master's when I had distilled 100 of my favorite books, self-development books, on everything from Nietzsche and Rumi and Ayn Rand to Buddha and Lao Tzu and Confucius, the classic teachers to the modern teachers like Tony Robbins and all the positive psychologists and people I love, into distill these books into simple summaries that I could share with my friends. And then I was on a flight from Tokyo back to the States almost exactly 2 years ago. And I saw an advertisement for a business that was doing summaries for business books. And their slogan was concentrated knowledge for the busy executive. And I had already intended to give myself this master's by creating summaries. And I had one of those epiphanies and ahas of, wow, someone should be doing this for self-development books. And rather than concentrated knowledge, let's do concentrated wisdom. And rather for the busy executive, let's do it for the busy self-actualizer. We're just busy people in general. So that's the basic idea. And I've spent 2 years on it. I've created 100 of my first notes. So the top 100 notes are available now. I spent a year in Bali, just reading and writing and meditating and teaching. And now I'm really excited to kind of take the next steps in my journey and share this with as many people as I can.
And what do you love most about your work?
I pinch myself daily that I get paid to read and have conversations like these. And I'm just passionate about pulling out the big ideas from these great books. And I like to say that in any given book, there's the sections that you underline and you asterisk and you fold the page over that you want to come back to when you pick the book up again. And those ideas, if we embody them, can really change our lives. And that's what the notes are all about. So I love kind of pulling those big ideas out and embodying them in my own life and inspiring and empowering people to create their greatest lives by bringing these truths into their lives as well. So that excites me.
Where have been the biggest challenges over that 2 years?
Well, I think, any time that I've started creative projects, I think anytime we start creative projects, there's always that question, really? Does anyone really need this? And who am I to do that? And all those friendly voices in our heads. So I think really getting clear on, this just feels like my next step. And then committing to it and, seeing it through. And one of my favorite teachers, Gay Hendricks, and his wife, Katie Hendricks, talk about recommitting And then it's not about committing. Anyone can commit to something, but what happens the next day when we don't feel like doing it, And that idea of recommitting and recommitting and recommitting, whether it's in creative pursuits or in relationships. So I think that was the challenge until I got over a certain hump. The first maybe like 10, 25, 30 notes actually came pretty quickly as I went through the books that I already loved. And then, kind of the doubt came in of really like, is this really worthwhile? Do I really want to commit to doing 100 of them? What other books am I going to do? And how long is it going to take? All of this stuff. And just getting clear on this just felt like something bigger than me, and how can I invest my energy in this and then give it to the world most fully. So that's been a big challenge that has been fun to integrate, the principles I'm studying into my life and just show up authentically in that regard.
And you're Gemini, aren't you?
I am a Gemini.
So what's the best thing about Geminis?
It's funny. My old business card used to say philosopher plus CEO. And that business was all about integrating my two personas. So I have part of me that loves thinking about big ideas and all I can do is read and write and think and have great conversations. Then there's the other part of me that loves building businesses and creating things of meaning and of significance. And so the greatest part of being a Gemini for me has been integrating those two, and that myth of the twins that switch places and the personalities swap. And for me, it's been, well, how can I integrate them so that both of my personalities get a play every day, So that's been fun.
And what's your worst habit? Or should I say, what are the 5 cheeses you need to avoid? That's from...
The 5 cheeses?
Yeah, you mentioned that in the places that scare you. I was listening to that the other day.
Right.
5 cheeses you need to resist. I thought that's a great way of describing your bad habit.
Well, that's great. Well, let's set the context for that, because that's a great one that I haven't thought of in a while. But the idea that, not taking the cheese from the trap. We know there's a trap that comes down when we eat the cheese, and how do we not do that? My biggest one is probably spending time online and disciplining myself to do my creative projects first before I go online and check email and check Facebook and check Twitter. And then there's just so much going on that my day can quickly and easily just kind of be taken in those directions. And then when I feel really thwarted, the really, really tasty cheese of avoidance is ESPN. I can go to ESPN.com more times than I want to count in a day. So it's awesome to notice that and to see, okay, what's happening here? And then to structure my days so that, my creative projects are done first and I don't get online and in a way that, other than maybe tweeting or something like that, until I've completed my project. So those would be my most immediate big ones. And I would say coconut bliss ice cream. I don't know if you've ever had that before, but that would be another one.
It sounds too blissful.
Yeah, it's great.
So you've been off to Bali and you're back now, back in the States. What was the best thing about coming back?
It was funny. In Bali, I spent a year in Bali, and we literally had coconuts brought to us, cut from the tree every morning. We love coconut water, and we do that. The best thing about coming back, the day after we arrived, we went to Whole Foods, and we were using internet at the Whole Foods that was faster than anything we had in Bali, drinking coconut water from a box. We thought that was pretty cool. So it was a nice integration of everything. But I joked that, the miracle of clicking on a link on the internet and having a page load immediately was quite remarkable for me.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed listening so far. Hop over to roomontheedge.com to hear my full conversation with Brian, where he shares his insights on what he has to do yet to get his master's and what he has to do before he grants himself that PhD, the theory and practice of living an authentic life, what 425 consecutive days of meditation can do for you, how to apply universal truths to the golf course, the key question above all other questions to ask yourself, and much more. It's a fun conversation, so get over to Room on the Edge and listen. And I hope that's inspired you, if you haven't already, to go to the Philosophers Notes and sign up to get a huge dose of wisdom. The notes are fantastic. Thanks, Brian.